Cartoons, the animated frontier. These are the voyages of the Cellcast podcast. Its continuing mission to explore strange new cartoons, to seek out new animation styles and new creative storytelling methods, to boldly go where so few ever go again.
Welcome to another episode of the Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who just recently got lost in a mall. Welcome, Jacob.
Well, I got distracted in the electronics department. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's
or
nothing
in my
new
case,
for you.
sometimes the toy department.
That's nothing new.
Why, thank you. Let me introduce our co-host, a man who just desires a cup of tea. Earl Grey, hot. Welcome, Drew.
One of these days, I'll actually try Earl Grey tea. And right now, I think it might be close to wanting to try it.
Yes, absolutely.
Just so y'all know, because I haven't told, I told the live stream this, but I am fighting congestion. That's why my voice sounds so lovely and sultry. But anyway, and because this is that's why I sound the way I do. And because this is the Thanksgiving week episode, This is going to be a very light edit, folks.
Yes.
So I'm going to apologize up front for all the mistakes we're going to make that you're going to hear. Because it's going to happen. It happens every week.
Yes.
So, I called it a light edit because I don't have much time to edit this week. Anyway, trivia time for this week is, what type of comic is My Neighbors The Yamadas based on? Do you know the answer, Jacob?
What comic?
What type of comic?
I'm not sure.
Well, the answer is it is a newspaper comic strip, technically.
That's right.
But it's a Japanese newspaper comic strip, which
Yeah.
they call a 4-koma. And for some reason, here we go. Josh Adams is the only one who answered this week. And he said, yeah, it's a Yonkoma manga, which is close enough.
Okay.
I'll give you 5 points since you didn't get it quite right. But that's actually fairly close. Yeah, 10 points.
10 points. Good job, Josh.
So congratulations, Josh. I think you're now at 30 points.
Yay.
Somebody else is going to have to answer these things. But anyway, I'll give you a trivia question for our next episode at the end of this episode. And we'll post it in Facebook as soon as this episode gets done recording. So keep an eye out for that. Anyway, How are you doing, Jacob?
Man, I'm doing very good. It's been a very interesting week with the run-up to Thanksgiving.
Always is.
Yeah, definitely working in a grocery store. It gets hectic really easy and really fast. And but praise the Lord, I got internet on Saturday. Woo! Finally.
Only took me 3 years of badgering him to get it.
That is true. But I had my reasons.
Light badgering.
Light badgering. Badger.
Mushroom. Moving on.
But I have internet, so now I've been watching more things on like streaming services and what have you. And we're doing pretty good. Just busy and getting revved up for Thanksgiving, and I hope you guys are also as well. And yeah, I'm doing great. Minus our friend over here who sounds kind of like a frog.
Ribbit, croak. Yeah, not long after we recorded last week's episode, like literally the next night, I felt like I coughed up a hairball. Almost not quite a lung, but definitely a hairball.
Okay,
Garfield. And my voice has been affected since then. I am fighting some congestion. So, yeah, it's been fun.
Right.
I'm really hoping it clears up before the Christmas show, not a week from this Sunday.
Yeah.
That'd be real nice.
That would.
Although, at least if right now it does feel like it's healing.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
It's in progress of recovery.
Yeah, as long as I don't agitate it.
Exactly.
Anyway, but other than that, I had one other nice thing happen to me since last episode.
Really?
I got extremely lucky on a Walmart sale
Yeah.
of a particular item that has been on sale for about a year, but because of the chip shortages and everything else related to, the horrible economy we're in right now and the, what do you call it, the supply chain issues caused by COVID-19. Thanks, COVID.
Yeah.
I got a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
It's fun. I played a little bit on the stream last night.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy that I got that. So yeah.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that.
Other than that, it's just been a kind of a normal week.
Minus getting over a cold.
Yes. But I wouldn't go so far as to call it a cold. I've had colds.
Yeah.
This is just bad congestion.
Been there.
And the only really weird part about this one versus anything else I've ever had is that it's clogged my eustachian tubes.
Okay.
It's put pressure back there.
Yeah.
And so now everything sounds flat.
Oh, okay.
Literally, that high-pitched beep that my truck does when I turn it on?
Yeah.
It sounds it sounds like a note lower than it's supposed to normally does to me.
Beep.
Well, not that low. But I mean, it's like, that sounds different. Plus, I did a good imitation of my dad because I couldn't hear something on a certain frequency the other day. And I literally thought, why are all these people mumbling? Holy crap, I sound like my father. So, yeah. Other than that, it's been a great week. Really, I have nothing to complain about other than I just wish be glad when this is gone.
Amen to that.
Like with so many other things related to COVID.
Yes.
But thankfully, it's not COVID.
Thankfully.
So, otherwise, we would not be recording right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway. So, Jacob, what have you been watching now that you have internet?
Happy dance. Happy dance. All right. So what have I been watching? I've been watching a few documentaries from National Geographic about history, and I love history. So
Makes sense. They are on Disney Plus.
That is true. So I've been watching that. Also, I was catching up on Marvel's What If. Those are good.
Yes.
Those are very good. Definitely Doctor Strange's first episode is, oh my gosh.
Have you finished What If yet?
Not yet. I'm getting there.
Keeping my mouth shut.
So speaking of Marvel, I started rewatching classic animated series I watched when I was a kid on Fox Kids.
Would it be the same one I started talking about rewatching last week?
Exactly.
I haven't had a chance to get back to it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a product of the 90s,
early 90s.
And I'm referring to as X-Men the Animated Series, which apparently Marvel is coming out with X-Men 97.
Which is supposed to pick up where X-Men 92 left off.
Yeah. So it'll come out in 2023, I believe.
Yes, that's my understanding.
Yes. So didn't we watch some of the Drews? Or Chases?
No.
I thought we did.
Not when I was there.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
I'm not saying you didn't while I wasn't there. But,
right.
And you weren't there when I was talking to Chase about it, and we just went and watched the opening sequence again. Excuse me.
But either way, yeah, that's all I've been watching. What about you, Drew?
Well, I've been behind on Star Trek for about a year now. What happened was last Halloween, 2 separate sci-fi shows came out, and I only had time to watch one of them. So I had to pick between Star Trek Discovery Season 3 or The Mandalorian Season 2.
Hard choice.
Guess what I picked? Mandalorian Season 2.
2.
Because at the time, it was the one I was most worried about getting spoiled. And considering I know how it ends, I think I made the right choice.
Okay.
But slowly over the past year, I've been watching through Discovery Season 3, and I finally finished it last week.
Yeah.
This is where the show should have started.
Okay.
Instead of where they did. Now, that being said, I can't say start at Season 3, because Season 3 describes nothing of any of the things it doesn't tell you what half the things are that if you had watched Season 1 and 2, you know what they are.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you to go back and if you want to watch Discovery, not to watch Season 1 and 2, but Season 3 is a lot better.
Okay.
And while I know Season 4 has started, I haven't started it yet myself. But I did watch another Star Trek show.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yes.
Lower Decks?
I finished Lower Decks.
Ah. What was it then?
But you are correct in its style of that it's animated.
Ah, okay.
Did you know there is now a third animated Star Trek TV series?
I heard about this.
And technically it's a Nickelodeon show
Okay.
called Star Trek Prodigy.
Prodigy. That's what it was.
Yeah. So far there's technically there's 5 episodes out, but they edited episodes 1 and 2 together to be an hour long.
Yeah.
But it's a very interesting show. I mean, it's obviously made for kids.
Yeah.
But it's made in the way that, say, Star Wars, The Clone Wars was made for kids.
Yeah.
It's still fairly accurate to what it's supposed to be.
Okay.
I'll put it that way. Now, but here's the thing. I say that, and you're going to turn it on, and you're going, this looks nothing like what I know of Star Trek. Because it really doesn't start that way. It starts off with our main protagonist. As of episode 5, we still have no idea what race he is.
Really?
Yeah. He doesn't know his parents. He's never seen his parents that we know of. He doesn't know what race he comes from. Other things, we don't even know where in the timeline this is yet.
Yeah.
Other than it has to be after Star Trek Voyager.
Okay.
Because a hologram version of Captain Janeway from that show is present on the ship.
Okay. Interesting.
And we know it's taking place in the Delta Quadrant, which is where Voyager took place. Which is like 70,000 light years from Federation space.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it's about these prisoners who happen to find this Federation, the Starfleet ship, crash landed in a mine. And they decide, instead of turning it in, to take it for themselves and escape. And of course, they're being chased by their master, their old masters now. It's actually very interesting because they're actually having to learn how to use the ship the way a Starfleet crew would have to do it, because otherwise Janeway won't let them do stuff because they're technically lying and saying they're cadets so they can keep using the ship.
Okay.
So the computer doesn't lock them out. It's funny. But here's the other thing. I have a feeling hologram Janeway knows that they're not
Probably.
Starfleet cadets.
Probably.
She's gave them an out so that because she knows it's the right thing to do, I guess.
Yeah.
If the hologram is really based on the original Janeway. But like I said, we have no idea how far in the future this is. This could be 25th century. This could be 26th century. This could be happening at the same time as Star Trek Lower Decks, for all we know. Actually, no, I can't say that because there is no way what happens to the Protostar, which is the ship they steal. What the whole secret about the Protostar happens if this is not sometime after everything but Discovery Season 3.
Okay.
It's just the way it's going to have to work.
Okay.
So anyway.
Yeah. So I did forget one thing.
Okay.
As you probably guys know, earlier this year, I was raving. Excuse me. Hairballs.
Coughing in concert tonight.
Exactly. So, Masters Universe Revelation Part 2 just dropped on Netflix, and I've started watching it. Really good so far. Haven't watched all of it. So if you've watched all of Part 2 yet currently, please do not spoil it in the comments anywhere, please. Thank you very much. If any other show, please don't spoil it for other people. Just, let people have their natural reactions to shows.
Yeah.
So either way, I'm watching that. So continue.
I mean, the only other thing I have is the games I've been playing, which was Astro's Playroom, which is the built-in game that came with the PS5, which kind of just shows off all the features of the PS5, but the way they handled it was about 10 kinds of awesome.
Cool.
You actually go through the first I went through the memory systems, and it kept showing me all these cool. It was kind of a platformer, like a Mario, 3D Mario game.
Yeah.
But you keep collecting these artifacts, and each of these artifacts, on the memory one, was all PlayStation 1 stuff.
Okay.
And then as you're going through, you can see the other little robots that are, peppered out amongst the level. They're acting out scenes from different games. At one point, I came across Cloud's Buster Sword that was just sitting in the middle of the path.
Interesting.
And then not long after that, I saw a mushroom-headed zombie robot attacking two robots that kind of look like the main characters from The Last of Us.
Huh.
Which was kind of funny.
Interesting.
And it ended with a boss battle against the original PlayStation tech demo.
Huh?
Yeah. I fought a giant T-Rex. Low polygon in 4x3.
Oh, wow.
And it was not an easy fight. But it was still fun. So I'll suggest that. And then I've also now started a little game called Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yeah.
That's been fun so far.
All right.
So yeah, that's what I've been watching and playing. So Jacob, what do we got in the news?
All right. So apparently we're having there's another troll problem arising.
Hey. Who's letting them on the internet so badly?
All right. So Poppy and Branch will return for another Technicolored turn.
Who?
Poppy and Branch.
I don't know these characters.
The main characters from Trolls.
Trolls.
Yeah, Trolls.
I was thinking I thought you were talking like Troll Hunter or something like that.
No, not quite.
Never mind.
Either way. Good guess though. Very good guess. All right, so apparently Universal Pictures is announcing a third Troll movie from DreamWorks Animation will arrive on November 17th, 2023 because people like trolls.
Why do you people like this thing? Actually, in all fairness, I've only seen the first movie. I've heard the second one is a little better.
Yeah.
I've not seen it. Not looking forward to when we put the first one on the list.
Right. All right, so
it wasn't bad, it just wasn't good.
I got you.
It wasn't for me anyway.
Right. So, yeah, no details on the film yet. So it should be coming out there again if there's no delays like we've had in the last year and a half.
Right.
Thank you, COVID. All right. So, yeah, moving on from there. This is a new one. Silvergate Media is ready to release Hadia and the Mountain King, an epic 80-minute movie special will be launching on Netflix global streaming platform from starting in December 30th. Apparently, it's based off a graphic novel of the same name by Luke Pearson. Yeah, so if you are interested, and apparently it's finding. Speaking of trolls, it's about trolls.
I'm sensing a theme.
Apparently. All right, so
there's none in the movie, by the way.
All right. So, in our last bit of news, this is a movie that went to theaters. I'm not sure how it did theater-wise, but it will be coming to Disney+. Ron's Gone Wrong from 20th Century Studios and Locksmith Animation, which apparently was certified fresh from Rotten Tomatoes, will start streaming on Disney+, starting this holiday, December 15th.
Huh.
So yeah.
I am interested in giving that one a shot.
And also,
I never got a chance to see it in theaters.
And also, just a little bit, it's also being available to stream on, of all things, HBO Max.
Actually, this does not surprise me.
Really?
Really.
Okay.
The reason being is that I know that I know it's a developer. That's the wrong term for this. The animation studio. This is their only thing they're going to do for Disney, because they had a deal with 20th Century Fox to release these before the Disney buyout.
Okay.
And they were allowed out for whatever reason. The rest of the ones they're doing that was originally in that deal, are being moved somewhere else. But this one, because of where it was in production, they had to go ahead and let it finish.
Okay.
So I can see maybe it's being the initial distribution is still being done by Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But I can see it maybe the home video going somewhere else.
Okay.
I don't know if that's what's going on. I'm guessing.
Gotcha. All right. So that's all I have for news.
Alrighty, then we need to jump into our spoiler-free thoughts on. I nearly said Princess Mononoke. My Neighbors The Yamadas. This is actually my second viewing.
Okay.
My first viewing was actually earlier this year because I was curious.
Okay.
Because the first time I heard about this movie was on that DVD, the Disney DVD trailer thing before that first Miyazaki film I watched. I don't remember which one that is off the top of my head. It was showing off all these other Miyazaki Studio Ghibli films that you should watch and give it a shot because we paid money for these and we want people to buy them.
Of course.
And I remember the other things on there. They showed off Nausicaa. They show off Princess Mononoke. Kiki's Delivery Service. Spirited Away. All the big Ghibli names. And all of a sudden, even Cat Returns was on that. And all of a sudden you get this art style showing up on screen.
Yeah.
And it is very different. And it stood out.
Just a little bit.
Just a touch. And so I remember thinking, that's one I need to go watch. Because I'm curious about this one. And, of course, after I made that proclamation, I never thought to go online to check and see if I could find it. And it was never at any store I went and looked at. So, I didn't get a chance to see it until earlier this year. And I remember being a little taken aback by this film because it's different than I would say most animated films are.
Yeah.
In fact, the closest film I can think of, animated film I can think of to this is, those Looney Tunes movies where they take the different shorts and somehow animate a through line between them? but you can tell when the animation, like
Yeah.
Bugs Bunny's 1001 Arabian Nights
Yeah.
or Daffy Duck's Quackbusters.
Yeah.
That's the closest films I can think to
Okay.
that these are. But it's not that because the vignettes are a lot shorter.
Mm.
And there's no through line. Not really.
Yeah.
But that being said, I still enjoy the film. I know not everyone. This is not going to be a film for everybody. Well, this is going to be an interesting episode, I can tell. It's not a film for everybody, but I did enjoy it. So, yeah, I can say, and yeah, you can watch this with the family, no problem.
Yeah, not a problem.
So, and I do suggest it, but bear in mind it is about a normal Japanese family.
A normal family?
Relatively.
Okay.
I'm saying there's no witch girls. There's no talking cats. There's not a statue that's going to suddenly jump up and take you to a faraway world. Mm-hmm. You're not going to end up in a hotel with a bunch of spirits. Giant bugs do not attack in this movie.
Thank the Lord.
You don't even get a thief.
That is true. It's your normal
You get bikers.
Yeah, you get bikers.
And that's an interesting way how that turns out.
Yes, indeed.
But it's what it reminds me of is reading a collection of Calvin and Hobbes comic strips. That's kind of what it feels like. Some of them are longer, some of them are shorter. And when you go through them all at once, you can tell there's at least there's no real story, but you feel progression.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And that's kind of what this one is for me. So,
okay.
What is your spoiler-free feelings on this? If we can really spoil this movie.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is my first time viewing, and I gotta say, it's a very unique film. It departs in so many ways from the other Studio Ghibli style, and it being an adaptation from a manga rather than your original story that you'd have with other Studio Ghibli titles. I found it unique. The idea that it uses a traditional family. It just goes through their lives, and yeah, there's really nothing you really spoil about this. Not really.
There's
not really.
No real big plot points.
No, there's not.
Mostly because there's no plot.
No,
if we're being honest.
Yeah, it's more just like Jim Belushi.
But life doesn't have a plot.
That is true.
Generally.
Jim Belushi put it best to be like, it's like Saturday Night Live. It's a bunch of skits.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of skits about a family. That's about it.
Sorry, Francisco of the Retro Rewind podcast. You probably will not like this film.
Okay.
Because it is literally a bunch of skits.
Pretty much.
It has less of a through line than Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
I can say it does have some through lines. There are certain things that are plotted more, like
but
umbrellas and seasons.
But in terms of a story,
there
is no story.
Yeah, there is literally no story.
It's like a bunch of little stories, but there's no overarching story.
Yeah. The only thing that really connects is like the family dynamic and the seasons that go around it. That's about it.
And random haiku lines.
That is true. That is true. Those are weird. Those were very, very odd. So either way, it'd be like, it's enjoyable. It's not exactly my cup of tea, pun intended. Would I recommend it? Yes. If you want to watch something unique and different. Okay. Is it family friendly? Yes. And it throws you for a loop every once in a while. It's like, what in the world's going on? But yeah, that's just, the Yamadas. It's a very unique family and a very unique animation style and a very unique movie.
Indeed. So I guess join us after the bumpers, and we will get to spoiling this thing.
Don't forget that you can download. Don't forget that you can. Don't forget that you can listen to us record the podcast live every Tuesday over on our Facebook page, The Cellcast, our Twitch channel, The Cellcast Gaming, and on YouTube at Cellcast. Also, don't forget to join our Patreon if you would like to support us monetarily. At $1, you'll get our everlasting thanks. At our $5 tier, you can get some artwork from Jacob. And at our $10 tier, you can get bloopers for every episode we've released that I've remembered to release them for. And you can get commentaries from different movies. So come check us out over there if you would like to support us financially. Every other week, join the Retro Rewind Pod as they travel back 15 or more years along the entertainment space-time continuum in their mission to review movies and games, establishing what is still worth your time today. Expect fun banter and trivial insights from Francisco and Paul, the Master Interrupter Powers, and rotating guest hosts who are all out of time. Do you like Star Wars? I don't just mean the original trilogy. Along with that, I mean the prequels, the sequels, the anthologies, the animated shows, and of course, who doesn't like Baby Yoda? Well, if you've been in the fandom for any length of time, you know how toxic the fandom can get. And if you'd like to be able to discuss a galaxy far, far away in a much more positive light, might I suggest searching out The Outer Rim, a Facebook group dedicated to all of Star Wars, and check out their YouTube channel, which you can easily find at Pop Americana, which the podcast you're currently listening to is also a part of. To find that and more, check out the link in the description.
The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie My Neighbors The Yamadas. Listener discretion is advised. Yes, the coughing was required to get that low bass out.
I gotcha.
My Neighbors The Yamadas was written and directed by Asao Takahata, with the English language version being written by Leo Chu and Eric Garcia, and it is based on the Japanese newspaper comic strip My Neighbors The Yamadas, created by Hisashi Ishii, which was renamed Nono-chan in 1997, 2 years before this movie came out.
Right.
Named after the fan favorite character. And became more about her.
Okay.
Cast includes Jim Belushi as Takashi Yamada. And in Little Shop of Horrors, he played Patrick Martin. Molly Shannon was the voice of Matsuko Yamada. And in the Hotel Transylvania series, she plays Wanda, the wife of the Wolfman.
Yeah.
Daryl Sabara played Noboru Yamada, and in Spy Kids, he played Junie Cortez. That's the little brother in that series.
Oh, okay.
Liliana... Is that right?
I thought I recognized him.
Yeah. Liliana Mumi played Nonoko Yamada, and in the Santa Claus 2 and 3, she played Lucy Miller.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's where I recognize her from.
And last but not least, or not last but least, sorry, Tress MacNeille was the voice of Shige Yamada. And she is, of course, Princess Angelina Contessa Luisa Francesca Banana Bobeska III, also known as Dot Warner, in Animaniacs. And last but not least, we've got David Ogden Stiers as the narrator. And in Lilo and Stitch, he played Jumba. Kingdom Hearts connections. We got AJ Buckley, who was additional voices in both. David Ogden Stiers, who I guess it was the narrator. And in Kingdom Hearts, he's played Cogsworth, Dr. Jumba Jukiba, and Doc, the one of the seven dwarfs.
Oh, okay. I gathered.
Tress MacNeille, who is Shige, also has played Daisy, Duchess of Duck, Queen of Hearts, Chip, Merryweather, and Kanga in Kingdom Hearts. Jeff Bennett was additional voices here. And he has been Merlin, Large Beagle Boy, Small Beagle Boy, Geppetto, Mr. Smee, Bashful, Lumiere, Beryl, and the Mayor of Halloween Town. Corey Burton, who was additional voices here, has been Captain Hook, the White Rabbit, the Doorknob, Flotsam, Jetsam, Dale, Diz, Ansem the Wise, Yin Sid, the Master Control Program, Santa Claus, Sark, Shan Yu, the Peddler, Magic Mirror, Claude Frollo, and Zeus in Kingdom Hearts.
Wow.
And there were about 5 other Kingdom Hearts connections, but when I realized this list was longer than the cast list, I decided to cut it short. So what do we got in info and stuff?
All right, so info and stuff. If you subscribe to HBO Max, it's available there. On IMDb, it has a 7.3 out of 10. Production was obviously Studio Ghibli. Oddly enough, distribution was not by Toho. It was actually by a company called, if I can pronounce this right, Shakua. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but
see.
Shochiku. Okay.
Yeah, Shochiku.
All right. In the U.S., it was by, I want to say it the wrong one, but it's Walt Disney Home Entertainment, because I was about to say the other one, but I caught myself. And more recently, it was done by G-Kids. Its release was in Japan was July 19th, 1999. It had a estimated budget of 2 billion yen, which would translate into $15.3 million in the U.S. Its box office in Japan was 1.5 billion in yen, and a conversion of that to American, that would, or a U.S. dollar, would be $11.9 million. Home release. The movie was released on VHS and DVD in Japan on Buena Vista Home Entertainment Japan on November 17th, 2000. It's the first Studio Ghibli movie to be released on DVD. My Neighbors The Yamadas were released on DVD in America on August 16th, 2005, alongside Pompoko by Walt Disney Studio Home Entertainment. A Blu-ray version of this film was released in Japan in 2010 and in the UK the following year. The US never got a Blu-ray release by Disney, but G-Kids released the film on Blu-ray for the first time in the US, as well as reissue the DVD under the new deal with Studio Ghibli on July 16th, 2018. That's all I have for my stuff.
Alrighty. Getting into the summary. The film is a series of vignettes following the daily lives of the Yamada family. Takashi and Matsuko, the mother and father, Shige, Matsuko's mother, Noboru, aged approximately 13, the son, Nonoko, aged approximately 7, the daughter, and Pochi, the family dog. Pochi doesn't get to do much in this film.
No, he doesn't. I was saddened by that.
Each of the vignettes is preceded by a title, such as Father as Role Model, A Family Torn Apart, or Patriarchal Supremacy Restored. These vignettes cover such issues as losing a child in a department store, the relationships between father and son or husband and wife, the wisdom of age, meeting one's first girlfriend, and many more. Each is presented with humor, presenting a very believable picture of family life, which crosses cultural boundaries. The relationships between Matsuko, Takashi, and Shige are particularly well observed, with Shige giving advice and proverbs to all the family members, and having a great strength of character. Takashi and Matsuko's relationship is often the focus of the episodes, their rivalries, such as arguing about who has control of the television, their frustrations, and their difficulties, but the overriding theme is their love for one another. Despite their flaws and their desire to be the best parents possible for their children. The trivia for this is Studio Ghibli's first 100% digitally animated film. Directed by Asao Takahata. He wanted the art style of watercolor pictures, which, according to him, needed digital technology to get the style right.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because didn't Disney do a watercolor thing like early on? Or am I confusing something?
Possibly. I'm not sure.
I know Lilo and Stitch has the watercolor look, but
Yeah.
it's during the Age of Caps, so it's the same thing here.
Yeah.
So, I maybe it's just that it stays more consistent.
Yeah, that's probably
what it is.
Probably.
And of course, like I said, the film is the first adaptation of Hisashi Ishii's newspaper strip comic My Neighbors The Yamadas, which was renamed to Nono-chan in 1997. So, Jacob, I'm curious. What's your first like?
My first like is going to be the unique animation style.
Ah,
It's more because there again, it breaks with the tradition of what your traditional Ghibli film is. It's not the Miyazaki style. It's not like everything else. So it's got the unique flair and differency. I do have issues with the animation, but I'll come back to that later. But overall, the style itself, that you have a 2-dimensional character, and it's you don't get the traditional in depth with the. You take other films we've done like Princess Mononoke, where you have 3D renders of characters.
yeah.
Drawn in a traditional style. This is more, if a character moves, it's literally just and you get more like Egyptian hieroglyphs.
Hieroglyphs?
Hieroglyphs. Thank you. My history nerd points are dropping.
Just throw that up to the fact that you sometimes get words wrong.
That is true.
That's all that was.
Yeah. Either way. So, I enjoyed the animation for what it was. It was so unique and different that it threw me. I was like, wait, this is the animation? I was thinking, at first my thought was like, oh, okay, this is the demo reel.
Yeah.
This has got to be
start. Eventually we'll get past the opening sequence and we'll get to the real animation.
What it reminded me of is what it reminded me of was the last episode, our last 2 episodes of Neon Genesis Evangelion, the original series, and not spoiling for some people because they haven't seen it. If you have, if you have not seen Neon Genesis Evangelion, go watch it.
I will eventually.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
One day you will force me to watch that film.
Exactly.
Those movies. Or
yes.
That show, I should say.
Yeah, that show. But it just has that unique style, because some people say, oh, they were at a budget and that kind of stuff. I think that was intentional. That's my opinion, because it's dealing with mental. So are dealing with learning to not hate oneself. And it's dealing with the whatever. So let's not get into spoilers. We're here. But that's what it reminded me of. And I was like, okay, I kind of taken it back in how they approach things and how they draw it, or they animate it. I thought it was unique. So yeah, mine is the unique art style.
Well, mine also is the art style.
Ah.
Because here's the thing. I can only think of one other franchise in which the bulk of the animation done for it actually follows the line art
really
that the original comic strip used. And that is Peanuts.
That makes sense.
Everything else I've ever seen has adapted the artwork somehow to make it 3D, or in the case of Garfield, try to make it Bill Murray. We'll not go there.
Yeah.
But they've tried to make it more real, I guess, instead of letting it be what it's supposed to be. And so I appreciate that they actually keep with the actual art style from the comic strip. Because I looked it up. I wanted to see how close it was.
Yeah.
It's fairly close. And I couldn't read any what words were, but
I got you.
The art looked fairly similar. But here's the thing. You said it was all 2D.
Yeah.
There was I know of at least 2 spots where it didn't really jump out at you, but I happened to notice it, where I swear I saw not a 3D object, but the way they animated it
Yeah.
made it look like it had 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
You could actually see the what do you call that? The squish of how the parallax scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about parallax scrolling
Yes.
before.
Yeah.
This one you can actually see it in like a couple spots with an object or two. I can't remember exactly when these places were, but I do remember seeing some 3D made by 2D
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah.
There was not a 3D object where they cheated, like they did with the demon stuff in Princess Mononoke, but they had to do it for that,
Right.
where it would give that little ethereal feel to it.
Right.
But I appreciated that this really did feel like you were watching the comic strip,
Okay.
and I appreciated that. So, yeah,
I completely agree.
and some of the animation that they do in here is downright beautiful
It is
for what it is.
It's in some spots it is. It is very beautiful.
But I'll get more into that part later.
All right. So going in my second, it's actually a character, the grandmother. The
I had a feeling you'd like
the-
Shige.
Shige is just an hilarious. She's an older lady who doesn't give a crap anymore about anything,
Yeah.
and she is just more like, "Hey, I'm going to go do this. Hey, I'm going to go semi flirt with this guy who's my age or whatever." But it's just her characteristics are so like if like older people that are elderly people, let's say that, who are at the dawn of their life, and it's just like they have so much life and spunk about them. At least some of them I've had the opportunity of meeting before. And Shige, if I'm saying that right, Shige, it's just that character. She'd be like when she says something, she's going to speak her mind about it. And I just really enjoyed that character. I really enjoy it. And she probably just steals the movie. I just really wish the dog could have got more instead of he's sitting in his doghouse.
He sleeps most of the film.
Yeah, exactly.
The only part where he didn't was in his introduction where he's walking with her.
Yeah, that's it.
And at first you're looking at, is that a dog?
Uh-huh.
Is that a cat? This is a really weird drawing of an animal. Oh, it's a dog. Okay.
Yeah, that was a weird one. When you're introduced to the dog, like he said, it looks like a cat at first, then it's a dog.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, are we doing a cat dog thing here?
It was weird for a second.
Agreed. But yeah, my favorite character would be I'm going to say a name. Shige, the grandmother.
Shigo. That's Kim Possible's rival.
Yes. Yeah, Shige is probably my favorite character from this movie. What's your number 2?
I like how this feels like we're actually looking at a real family.
Right, agreed.
With their relationships. The father always feels like he's doing all this work for the family and he's coming home tired.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell he's sacrificed a lot of his dreams for his family. Because he has a couple of dream moments throughout this, which I'll talk about later.
Right.
But I love how he feels. He's like a normal man, but he feels like he's inadequate to actually do anything.
Yeah.
But yet he's the breadwinner. And one of my favorite parts of that shows that family dynamic is when he's outside and he starts realizing it's snowing.
Oh yeah, that's a great scene. That's great.
And he runs in happy that, hey, it's snowing. We can have this great big family moment that's going to be so great because I, the father, thought about it. He opens the door and they're watching TV.
Yeah.
He says, hey guys, it's snowing. Let's take a picture. Shh, we're watching the movie. Yeah, close the door. It's cold outside. And he closes the door and he sits and thinks about it. Finally, he gets up, walks in, closes the door, says, hey, where do we keep the camera? He says, it's in the top shelf. So, of course, he pulls out the second shelf.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
He says, I can't find it anywhere. He says, man, I'm trying to watch the movie. She opens the top shelf, picks up, hands it to him. He sets the timer on the camera walks over, sets it on top of the TV, hits the shutter, walks out of the room, lines himself up exactly between where the family members are, but he's outside in the snow and they're glued to the tube.
Yeah.
And the picture goes off, and I was laughing my butt off that entire time. It's like,
Yeah.
this has never happened. And I don't just mean because we barely get snow here.
That's true.
But I can see this happening.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, Dad wants to share this special moment, and me and Mom are too busy watching television.
True.
And it doesn't occur to us. Sorry, we need to hit pause. And then Dad's already mad and walked off. We're trying to hit pause. Anyway. That family dynamic I thought was like spot on. The dad trying to connect with his son by playing baseball, but the son doesn't really care about baseball.
Yeah.
From what I could tell.
Yeah.
The mother thinking she's having to do I can't even explain it very well. The whole family dynamic is just like, I've seen this family.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Not exactly, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But I've seen this family. It's like, oh, yeah. This has to be based on real stuff. This is not just stuff that came to this guy's mind. But, yeah. And then, of course, there's the motorcycle gang.
Oh, yeah, the motorcycle gang. Yeah.
Which I'm going to talk more about in my third like.
Yeah.
But what's your third?
My third like would actually be on the exact same line. Is it's a real family. It's not where you have this traditional where you have a family that's more unique and outgoing and more like the idea of the fantasy family, that everything's perfect, everything's peachy, like you would have something from the 1950s. Well, this family is very much grounded in reality. They're dealing with their issues. You have a father who's overworked because it's Japanese culture, and it's very much implied that if I'm reading,
well, he's a salary man.
He's a salary man. Yeah,
he goes to work and he comes home, and on Fridays he has to serve sake to his boss.
Apparently,
because there was that one when he came home drunk.
Yeah, and
he'd probably been. And you notice no one said anything.
No,
it's like thank you because they knew he had to go serve his boss.
That's one part I didn't get. I was like, what in the world happened?
Yeah.
Like, oh, he got drunk. And it's like, where did he get drunk from?
Yeah. So that skit there where he's comes home and all they've got is a banana and cracker.
Yeah.
The only reason I know about this is because I pay too much attention to, I've watched too much Japanese stuff.
Yeah. You
get right down to it. But and that's the only thing I'm guessing is that he had to have been at his boss's the weekly bar thing that the group does because the boss wants to go get drunk, because this is apparently a common thing.
Yeah,
and you can't leave until the boss lets you leave.
Oh wow!
And if the boss says drink, you have to drink.
Oh gosh, no.
And if I'm willing to bet, I bet Takashi, I bet he's the senior member on staff, which means he has to be the one who serves his boss, Saki.
Oh, wow.
I'm betting. I do not know this, but the way this thing runs, that would be his luck.
It makes sense. Oh, yeah. The overall consensus of this family is that it's a family with problems.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very unique family.
Life happens.
Life happens. You're dealing with a child who gets lost in the mall. You're dealing with your adolescent son who's growing into puberty.
Yeah,
and he's curious about boys. And
who's tired of studying.
He's tired of studying.
But has to keep studying.
Yes, keep studying.
Study harder.
Study harder.
Study harder. Study harder. Study harder.
All right, Mom. But overall, the sense of how grounded this family is with its problems, with its nuances, with the dynamics of how the characters are literally butting heads every. And if you've ever been around a
if you've been in a family,
if you've been in a family in general, that it's different when you have like multiple siblings and you have a single child.
When you have very independent people, which
Very
this entire
true.
family has.
Very true. You're all
you are
different
all
people.
butting heads.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care how many people there are.
That is true. That is so true. So yeah, be like me and Drew come from different family dynamics. Be like, I have 2 younger brothers.
I'm an only child.
He's an only child.
But I can tell you I was a very willful child. And I had opinions.
Oh yeah, we all had them. Except when your brother decided that this was your opinion when you didn't have a chance to talk. That's what happened to me when I was younger. So either way. So yeah, the family dynamics, the grounded in reality truths of being a family and not being this high fantasy let's break everything in order to make a unique story, and just ground in reality and make this just a solid down to earth family and their dynamics. And I found that interesting.
Yeah. So that was your third like?
That was my third like.
My third like is all these segments that obviously is appearing in somebody's imagination.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I also like to call them the surreal segments.
Okay.
Such as the opening.
Yeah.
Where that one person is giving that speech at Matsuko and Takashi's wedding.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing, it starts off with them, what do you call that? Bobsled? They're riding a bobsled down a wedding cake.
Yeah.
Turns into a sailing ship.
Yeah.
No. It turns into something else because they eventually find Noburo in a cabbage patch.
Yeah.
And then that turns into a ship and takes them over to where they were when Nanako is born.
Yeah,
out of a bamboo shoot.
Yeah, she's the little princess.
Yes. So they went with the Japanese princess folklore thing, found in a bamboo shoot.
I did not realize that.
Well, yeah.
I thought it was unique there again. Be like, I'm not as fluent as in.
I only know vague things.
Yeah.
You
know a lot more than I do.
Only because I've watched so much Japanese stuff. And I get curious. It's like, why are they doing this? Why are they doing that?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Now you know. Or now I know.
But you got that there, and you got but interestingly enough, when Takashi is giving the speech at the end, there is no weird surreal sequence. It's just him giving the speech, which that doesn't take a lot of animation, but it shows the difference. Because I assume the opening, what we're actually seeing is what Nonako is picturing.
Yeah, exactly.
Of this, of her hearing the story.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was the grandmother who was. The grandmother was.
It wasn't Shige that was giving the speech. It was someone else.
Oh, okay, I thought it was Shige.
Well, it looked like Shige.
Yeah.
And maybe it was a younger Shige, but I don't think it was because the voice sounded a little different.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Alrighty.
But the other part that I loved, Moonlight Rider.
Oh gosh, this scene.
Okay, so here's the thing. When this popped up, like I said, I've only seen this movie once before.
Yeah.
But when it popped up, I was actually about to shut it off so I could go to bed because I was tired. You know how bad Long Saturday was. And I was just going to get up early and finish the movie on Sunday. But this moment started. And it's like, I know what this is. I can't turn it off. I have to wait. It starts when you hear these bikers tearing through the neighborhood. It's like, okay, this is about to happen. Shige's about to go off and tell them what for with a baseball bat. As Takashi's coming in.
Of course.
And Matsuko says, don't let her go out there. She'll kill herself. Takashi, you go talk to him. And I'm sitting there going, what difference does he make?
That is true.
Call the police. Don't call the police. You know, those innocent boys will get police records. How do you know they're innocent?
You never know.
Anyway, so he goes out there and he just stands at like a distance because he can't bring himself to go talk to him because he's scared as heck. And finally, they start berating him and doing this whole thing where it's like I can see myself in this situation.
Yeah.
And then, because obviously he's not getting the job done, Mama and Grandma come out and start doing this weird little dance thing, which I don't understand. And then Shige starts talking to this guy and saying, trying to say, you should do all this stuff and you should be a good guy because there's a big guy like you. You got to be able to tell, She's going through this whole thing, and eventually the guy just leaves because he's tired and doesn't care anymore. He's too big. I think it's because he doesn't need to deal with that crap. I don't think she got through to him. I think she just annoyed him.
That was my thought.
But then they go in, and Takashi is still just standing out there, and you can just feel the helplessness that he had to have been feeling that entire time. But at the same time, you start hearing in the background this really crackly 70s era sounding heroic song.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right.
That sounds suspiciously a little like the theme song to Kamen Rider. Not quite, because it's not. It's obviously been written for this movie. But it has that sound to it.
Uh-huh. He rides a motorcycle crying loud.
And the scene shifts to these two mobsters somehow stealing Shige and Matsuko, holding them with one hand as they are riding their motorcycles through the streets while Nonoko and Noburo are chasing after them, screaming. It's like, give us our parents, give us our mommy back, and all that kind of stuff. And Tetsuko's running behind them, and all of a sudden they pass a magazine stand, I think. Tetsuko stops. He runs into the magazine stands and pops out wearing this white suit with a turban on with a giant yellow crescent moon. And the music ramps up here. It's still sounding like it's playing over an old record from the 70s, mind you. But it's doing all this. And the animation gets wild, strangely liquid here. It gets very, very it's like they went from animating on 2s to animating on 1s for this scene.
Yeah.
And he does all this cool stuff with taking out the bad guys as he chases after him on a scooter.
Yeah.
And all this other cool stuff. And I find it hilarious because I know what he's doing. But it's also very sad because that's what he wants to be, and that's what he knows he's not.
Yeah.
Is he knows he's not a hero.
Yeah.
He's just Takashi.
Yeah.
And that's why it's one of my favorite moments in the film, because it's both understandable, because I think we all have that feeling of wanting to be the hero.
Oh, yeah.
But feeling absolutely helpless in the situation actually rises to do it.
Exactly.
Which there's got to be a religious thing in there somewhere. Something how we can't be the heroes of our lives because the only person who can
truly
stop
save us
sin is Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's not going to go tell he's just not going to annoy the guy until he runs away.
I think it's the Holy Spirit's job.
Yeah, that's what that is.
All right.
So anyway, what's your first dislike?
My first is like I said in the beginning, the animation is unique, but the uniqueness kind of drops off really quickly when all your backgrounds are literally just a line. It'd be like you're supposed to. I guess it's more you have to fill in the imagination of what's going on, because obviously I can do that, Drew can do that, and most people can do that. But when you just be like everything is just, I understand that's the artist's style. I'm just not a huge fan of it.
Right.
And it's more, okay, I get the the daughter gets lost in the mall scene where it's the cars are designed a certain way. I get that. But then you get to like, I think it's in some scenes where it's be like, you can't even tell where you are because there's no background.
Right.
I'd be like, you can tell it's a street. You can tell there's supposed to be a fence here, but there's just a little line. And it's just like, it drove me nuts to be like, give me more detail in the background.
Well, I'm going to jump in on this because this is kind of also my first dislike.
Okay.
Its loyalty to the line art makes it feel, in many spots, unfinished.
Yeah, agreed. Completely agreed.
It should never feel unfinished.
Yeah.
Ever. I know that means you might have to add more detail than the comic ever did, but it should never feel unfinished. Ever. Because there's parts where it looks like you're still seeing just sketches.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
It's like, no, don't do that. This isn't an 80s music video. Which that was intentional too, but still.
Right.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Huh? As I finish scratching my eyes. But either way, it's just the simple line art just really bugged me. It really bugged me. There again, understanding the artist's style, but wanting to hold as true as they could to it, really hindered the animation itself. Granted, you have some scenes like the heroic dream which the father has. They really ramped that up with the animation. But everything else be like there's like it's very minimalistic and it just drove me nuts the entire film. Because there again, it's a huge departure from everything Studio Ghibli. And bravo for them for, doing something different and taking a chance and doing something. But it just didn't work for me. It was so aggravating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. All right. So what is your first dislike?
I just said it. It was the fact that some of its loyalty to the line work leaves it looking unfinished.
Agreed.
And it's like you said, it's the part there at the mall.
Uh-huh.
When that car first pulls out that's got Nonoko in it,
mm-hmm.
I wasn't even looking at it. I just thought, okay, that's just, something in the background. All of a sudden I go, oh wait, and all of a sudden they remember, oh yeah, we gotta draw Nonoko in here. It's like, oh, okay. Why did you do it that way? Why? I want it to, if you're going to try to keep this style of artwork, it needs to feel a little bit more smoother.
Yeah.
It needs to feel like, admittedly, you don't want to go overboard.
No, of course not.
But at least put color in the background. I think they have color comics in Japan.
Well, there is color,
newspapers.
but it's very minimalistic.
Right, but I mean, put a little more color back there so it feels like an actual area.
Yeah, agreed.
Most of the time, you're looking at what looks like you're looking at white paper.
Yeah, or just a very
obvious
lightly
throughout the
watered
whole
background.
It's obvious throughout the whole thing. You're looking at just a white background. Maybe there's some other stuff in there from time to time, but it felt like I was watching a motion comic.
Agreed. Completely agreed.
Which is below Studio Ghibli, I should say.
Yeah, agreed.
In their capabilities. And don't get me wrong, they did a good job with it, but it feels unfinished half the time. So
agreed.
What's your second dislike?
There's no through line story. It's literally like we said before. It's literally a bunch of vignettes of just the family's life, and there's like Drew said before. You have skits that are long, and you have short ones that just drove me nuts. It was literally, it's like, oh, they're going out the door. Next scene.
Yeah.
What in the world is going on here? I understand it's more the day-to-day life of people.
I'm guessing that was literally a 4-panel strip.
I'd presume so.
Whereas the other ones were a series of strips. Like there was a 4-panel strip, and then the next day there was another part of that story, and the next day there was another part of the story. But the ones that were like blink and you'll miss them, that was just a 1-day strip.
Agree.
Like the one where I don't remember what she said. The one where the grandma said something and then the mama just fell flat on her face
Yeah.
as a gag.
Mm-hmm.
Because she said something that sounded incredibly stupid, but also made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's definitely got to be one of those one a day.
Yeah, I would agree.
strips.
I would
Anyway,
agree.
sorry,
I would agree.
continue.
Yeah, it's just there's no consistency through there's no through story with this. It's literally just a bunch of vignettes like you do in the Saturday Night Live show.
Yeah.
And I get the direction they're going. It's just give me a consistent story. I understand this is more the day in and day out of a family, but give me a thread of something that's this concurrent. If you're doing just little vignettes, have something in the background or the foreground that's giving me connection to each and every part. Instead of, oh, she went to the store this day. Oh, the father came home drunk today. Or something like that. I understand it's there again. They're wanting to do this marionette of the real life of a family.
Yeah.
But there's no through line except for, oh, there's an umbrella. Oh, someone wants tea. That's the through. That's a continuation from something else, or an umbrella, or something. But there's no real like continuous plot thread through this thing, and I found that very. I found them just very disconnected.
Yeah.
Like all of these little things are so disconnected. There's some connection here and there, but there's no the thread line kind of breaks here and there, and it's so disjointed. Yeah. That's my number 2.
That's also my number 2.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. It would have taken a little bit of work, admittedly.
Right.
To actually make a story that went through maybe not every scenario that showed up in here,
right?
But a lot of them. And they could have done it to where this was like, say, a year in the life of the Yamadas.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a continuing thing that would pop up from now and then, like a callback to an earlier scene where it felt like there was progression. In reality, this felt like the comic strips greatest hits.
Yeah, agreed.
In a lot of ways. It did nothing to connect it all the way through, which is unfortunate. Because I'm sure this might have done very well in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid that's what's hurting it here. Because most people, they don't get any of the cultural references. I'm not getting all of them. And while you do get to know this family as the movie goes on, it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like there's any continuity between scenes sometimes. Right. And that's the annoying part. So yeah, that's my number 2 dislike. What's your third?
Now, we did mention this character early on. And I was so sad we didn't get much more of this because I'm a dog lover. I love dogs. And plus I bark like a dog because I have my Tourette's disorder. Is the dog. Always see this dog. We see the dog in the first beginning of the movie and periodically be like, Snoopy does more stuff than this movie with this dog. Like the fact that you have a dog and I understand you want to be grounded in reality, but the dog's going to do something, like the dog jumps on somebody or he's active or something like that. I've never seen a bunch of lazy pooch. And don't get me wrong, it'd be like the way they animate the dog is very interesting because there again, the animation is very unique in this movie, but at least utilize the dog. I don't know what there again, I have no real connection with the comic strip manga. So I don't know if the dog does anything in the comic, but I really wish they would have at least done something more with the dog instead of, oh, he's walking in the background. Oh, he's sitting in his doghouse or something along those lines. He does more than just lounge around and does nothing. Just, give me more of the dog. Do you remember what the dog's name is?
Pokechi.
Give me more Pokechi. He does something in the film. But sadly, he doesn't. Pokechi just sits in his doghouse and does nothing. like he's been sent to the doghouse
Well,
for being a bad dog for doing nothing. You be like your budget has been cut, Yokichi, and so now you can sit in the doghouse all day, all movie.
maybe Studio Ghibli just knows what better to do what with cats than dogs.
Apparently, come on, Studio Ghibli, give the dog some love. That's all I'm saying. maybe just for giggles, just do an entire movie about Pokechi.
So 2 hours of him asleep in the doghouse?
No, he actually has an adventure.
I get the feeling he's not very energetic.
It sounds like it, but come on, give the dog a break.
Okay, whatever.
I know Studio Ghibli is huge about cats, but apparently it's like, oh, there's a dog in this film? Oh no, the dog can't do anything because we're all about cats.
That's not why.
I know, I'm
but
just being facetious when I say that.
Anyway.
All right. I know, I got on a dog rant. What is your number 3?
My third dislike is that some of these vignettes don't translate very well into English.
No, they don't. They do not.
Now, granted, I'm not good at poetry. I certainly don't understand haiku very well. So all the haikus that show up in here, I don't understand. I know they connect to the scenes that happened right before them.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them I could tell the connection, but sometimes it's just, okay. I'm glad Basho said that. Whoever Basho is. Apparently a haiku writer. But there's some other things like the New Year's Eve thing where they were passing the money out at a high speed. I mean, I can get kind of the idea of like, you know, we got to get it out quickly because it's got to make a new record for how fast we get it sorted.
Yeah.
Kind of like in Christmas Story when he's trying to change out the flat tire.
Yeah.
Before the fudge happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it took me. Do you know why he was sorting that stuff out?
I have no idea.
He was actually sorting out money that went to each of the family members as part of the New Year's celebration.
Yeah, I totally didn't get that.
Yeah, and the only reason I know that much is
I
because
thought it was a card game.
No, it's part of the tradition that. At least that's my understanding of it. It was, or maybe it was like charms or something. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it was actually different bits of, you know, the family was blessed with this much, so here's how we separate it between the members.
Yeah.
And he was doing that. I was like, I don't even know what you're doing because I'm American and this is not in my
wheelhouse of understanding.
I don't understand the folklore here.
No.
This is not in my background. I don't know how you would have explained that in the time given.
Right.
Because there was no time given. And maybe I hate the idea of editing a film after it's been made in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. But maybe that would have been one you cut for commercials if you showed it on TV.
Katzenberg!
I'm guessing. I don't know. Making guesses.
Yeah.
But there's a couple other things like that where you're looking at it. Well, like you didn't get why he was drunk when he came home that night.
Yeah, exactly.
And why the family wasn't mad at him.
Yeah. I was like, dude, this guy went to the bar and no one's reacting like this. Okay,
They're treating him like it's so sad that
it's
he
perfectly
went out and
normal.
Got drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he spent a late night at the office.
Yeah.
In a way, he did spend a late night at the office.
At first he comes in, I'm thinking like, oh, he's just tired. He's had a long day. And it's like, wait, he's acting drunk.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, he went to the bar. It's like, oh, intriguing stuff. He's going to the bar at night. Ooh. And nothing said about it. It's like, what in the world's going on?
Because it doesn't translate well to English.
It doesn't.
To over here.
To an American
where
audience.
To us, you spend all night at the bar instead of being home with your family. That could be cheating.
Exactly.
But over there, that's you keeping the boss happy.
Apparently.
And that's considered normal.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's apparently considered normal to work your butt off, work yourself to death at work.
Mm-hmm.
Over there in Japan. But, you know, it's neither here nor there.
Right.
But a lot of that just does not translate well over here, unfortunately.
Indeed.
And you kind of just have to take it for what it is. And of all of Disney's dubs for these things, where they've at least tried to do their best and add some lines to help native English speakers understand what's going on.
Yeah.
This is like does it the worst because you don't have time to do that. You just have to
Indeed
do it. You just have to. Here's the scene. It's a minute, and then we're going to go to the next scene, which is going to be 30 seconds, and the next scene might be 4 minutes, but then we're going to have another minute-long scene.
Mm-hmm.
And can you imagine what this script must have looked like to the people who got it to read it to do the English dub on it?
Yeah, that'd be a nightmare.
There's no story to this. How am I supposed to know who these characters are? It's like they're just normal people.
Yeah,
that's all they are.
Well, each one of the actors said it was so much fun that when they were given the VHS or DVD to watch it, like the kids, an example, who the voice actors played the voice, they didn't want to return it because they thought it was so much fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Yeah,
but yeah, it just doesn't translate very well over here, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's why it's one of my dislikes.
Okay,
which brings us to the end of this review, so we need to rate it.
Yeah.
What are you giving it?
I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay.
It's got a unique art style. It has a really cool grandmother, which is like, okay. And there again, it's grounded. It's grounded in a real life family and dealing with family problems, dealing with issues, and just like it's fun in a lot of ways. But there again, the animation is just like, what in the world is going on? And there again, not understanding fully the Japanese culture and not knowing all this stuff. I know some people are like, well, you need to know all about everything. I don't. So
no one can know everything.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not all wise and all powerful and knowing everything. The only person is God. So
amen.
So in that regard, I'm giving you a 7. It's worth a watch. It's not one of these, to me, it's not one of these films I'm going to pop in every couple of months and watch because, oh my gosh, it's such a riveting film. But it's unique. It's fun. And yes, it's family friendly, like I said before. And if you find that intriguing, go watch it. Be like, you might find it's, okay, that was a unique film. And so I know some people might, oh my gosh, this is the bomb. I love this film. But for me, it was kind of like a meh. So I'm giving it a 7. It's still good. It's just not, there again, it's not my cup of tea. What's yours?
I'm giving it a 7.5.
Okay.
Mostly, some of it is, the reason it's a little bit higher than yours is how much I appreciate the gimmicks for this one. Yeah, I do wish there was more to the story. Mm-hmm. But it's still the interesting thing. I wouldn't mind watching it again in maybe a year or two.
Okay.
But yeah, it's got its issues, but for what it is, it's a good film.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to give it a 7.5.
All right.
7.5.
All right.
I can say it without losing oxygen.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the episode. What are we reviewing next week?
All right.
Do you know?
Yes, I do. So
did you see that I just changed it a couple minutes ago?
No, I didn't.
Because
you changed it.
I changed it because I don't have Earth of Christmas yet.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. All right.
So next week we're doing Charlie Brown Christmas.
Ah, okay.
It's a little easier for me to get a hold of.
I got you.
So join us next week for that. Our trivia question for that is going to be, what piece of scripture does Linus read near the end of the film?
Wow. Okay. Very cool.
And I will post that question in the Facebook group or Facebook page not long after we hang up here. So keep an eye out for that if you know the answer, and join us for that. In the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
Come, Jacob, we must prepare for next week.
Prepare for what, Drew?
The same thing we do every week, Jacob. Record a podcast!
Oh, boy!
So where can they find you, Jacob?
You can find me on Facebook at Jacob B. Heron, also on Facebook at Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where I try to draw each and every day. I don't get to it as often as I like, but join me there. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. on Twitter at Jacob Heron, and Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. So where can they find you, Drew?
You can also follow me on Letterboxd at ggeorge759, Facebook as Drew Dodgen, my Facebook page where you can see pictures I've taken at Drew's Photo Bin. You can also follow me on Twitter at ggeorge759.
You can email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com.
You can also follow us on Twitter at cast_cell.
You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/thecellcastgaming.
You can also follow us on YouTube at Cellcast,
Listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts,
Google Play Podcasts,
Stitcher,
Spotify,
and your favorite podcast directory.
You can also listen to us on the Movie of the Week podcast with Jim Heron, where we talk about live-action movies. And remember, Cell is a single L.
Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be.
Exactly.